Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of Philo. We are on episode 51. The title name is Fireworks, and I have a very special guest today. I have Thomas Perkins, Thomas N. Perkins IV, to be exact. He's been a character designer in animation, prop designer, has worked on a bunch of awesome shows. Some of my personal favorites are like Extreme Ghostbusters and like Men in Black and a bunch of other cool stuff. I realized because I just got a puppet, I can't read. I can't read my chat. I have to push him back. But yes, so we have Thomas Perkins joining us today. And then I also would like to introduce my co-host and better half. This is Robin Fisher. Robin Fisher is amazing at knowing more about comics than me. And she is like cool as shit. And like we're gonna have and she's eating fries tonight. And then of course this is Thomas Perkins himself joining us. So hi Tangent, hi Kay in comments. Let me bring up my screen so that we can refresh where we were, which was not a blank page. That just happens to be where we are right now. The last panel that we left off at was the Mushroom Rebellion. But before that, we had, I had a whole page ready. Oh my gosh, I bet you I closed it. Oh, I'm so professional, aren't I?
Was the Mushroom Revolution televised?
It could have been. I don't know. What, like, are we going to have like one mushroom standing in front of a line of tanks, you know, where they don't talk about it anymore?
Mushroom Tiananmen Square.
Yeah, it's a Mushroom Tiananmen Square. But yes, let me review what happened last episode before we got to the celebration with the gallows that we never got to.
Celebrate mushroom times tonight.
Yeah, gallows great mushroom times.
Let's have a good time.
Oh my gosh, I really need to like rework my page so that I have like a whole Philo area just dedicated to Philo. But yes, we have Philo running out of the studio. I need time alone. And this is the last we've seen of Armand. And then Philo decompresses. Cthulhu's shroom sees all. And Rod Serling wraps things up. And they're having ice cream. The dog is taken and leads the revolution against ice cream and Shroomlet Green. Cthulhu Shroom is providing aftercare for Philo. We find out that Shroomlet Green is made of shroomlets, and they burn down the Shroomlet Green factory. And that's what led to this, where we have gallows. So what happens there? Do you want to take the first panel, or do you want me to, Thomas?
I will let you take the first one to boldly lead us into the future.
Yes. Okay. So one thing I do like to do is I do like to have concurrent drawing. So we'll figure out what is going to happen in my panel, and then we'll figure out what's going to happen in your panel, and we'll be drawing at the same time.
Excellent.
Okay. So we had Shroomlet Green factory destroyed. We had them celebrating. We have the question, was it televised? And then we have at least 2 people in chat today. So was it televised?
It was actually kind of a joke about that song, The Revolution will not be televised.
Well, I realize there's a joke about that song, but it's a good question. The song raises a good question.
Well, I will say that, like, in our modern hyper-televised culture, I would be surprised if it were not actually televised or used for some TikTok madness or something.
Maybe that should be our
they all have cell phones
TikTok
and they're filming everything. All the little shrooms have phones.
Well,
Yes.
it would add to the dystopian quality of the Big Brotherness of it all.
Yes, I love that. So I'm thinking, I love what you said of TikTok madness. And so that is going to be my caption. And I realize I am in the small window, so I'm going to put myself in the big window. And then, so I'm going to draw a bunch of mushrooms recording the revolution with their phones. So what happens in panel 2? So if they're recording the revolution with their phones, maybe we see what's on the phones.
Sure.
Maybe we see like how many reactions they're getting and stuff like that.
Or I don't know where your other characters are in relation, or if any of them would be looking to see the phone.
Yeah, maybe we should talk about the dog.
Yeah,
There
we haven't
you go.
talked to the dog in a while.
Maybe he's on like a podium with his new
Like my
mushroom
sweet-
wife. And he's becoming the president of the mushroom.
Well, wasn't Animal Farm about the corruption of the revolutionary leaders after leading the revolution?
Well, it
Sure.
always happens that way. Absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah, and
It
Like-
happened in communism.
so wouldn't he be the next on the gallows? Like, is
Well,
he
you-
overlooking the gallows?
At this point in the Animal Farm kind of way of things, they'd still be well underway as being on the side that isn't being dealt with. They'd probably be like ushering people to do more, and then as it all reaches a crescendo later in your tale, that's when it falls apart.
Now, Tangent says the dog is making a puppet, which will be used to rule others.
There
So,
you go.
okay,
So
so
maybe you should show him making a puppet.
Sure.
he's like, is it like literally a puppet? Like with Rob?
I kind of think that would be really hilarious if it was. Seeing as you got a puppet, was it today? Seems
Yes.
Like it's his theme.
Yes.
Now my question is it a puppet of a mushroom? To communicate with the mushroom masses?
Yes. Yes, I believe it would be. Let's see. And then we'll have like
He
building.
says yes, and Tangent says yes a little later. Lots of yeses going on right now.
Yes.
Yes.
I think that we're all in agreement that there should be a mushroom puppet leader with the dog as the well okay, would he be known by the mushroom people, or would he be like Dick Cheney, where like he's there but he's like the one really running things?
I think I'd
Or
probably
would
be
But he can't
more likely.
manipulate the dog. It's the dog that's manipulating him. I thought.
well, but that's what I'm saying is the dog would be the Dick Cheney character. He would be the one that's
Oh,
like
right.
really
Yeah,
running.
that makes more sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
But people knew Dick Cheney was there, but he was the one still really running things.
Well,
Yeah,
that's the
he-
magic. That's the magic of a hand puppet.
Like the Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, you forget. It's magic because everyone plays pretend that the puppeteer's not there.
Exactly.
Yeah, he
Don't
did
look
it 'cause
behind the
it's
green curtain.
Let's see. Okay, I'll do this, and then we'll have more fires. I'll have a helicopter. I imagine
Flash
there'd be, like,
mob.
yeah. Now, are you drawing on your caption, Thomas?
I'm going to be right now. I'm actually just looking for some reference for your dog.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. The dog is just a dog. It doesn't. There's no species.
Oh, it's just whatever.
Although he did
Yeah.
have kind of a Che Guevara bent to him lately. You know, with the beret and because he's revolutionary.
Hey everyone, Riley and I made it just a little late. Hi Riley.
I'm Mutant Fox.
Hi Cody. Yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna start down here. And we're gonna have them out with their TikToks. And I think they should have like little mushroom, like stubby arms. Yeah,
I was reading online that people are actually making AI videos to make the fires look worse.
That would not surprise me.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah. I don't know why they would do that, but
I mean, they're pretty terrible. They don't need to make it look worse. But I will say that we've had all manner of yahoos out here doing stupid things. There was some guy who shot off fireworks near my house the other night.
Yeah, that makes sense too. You know,
Sure.
dry, fiery conditions. Woohoo! Let's celebrate that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, with dry, fiery things. Oh my gosh.
I saw a really good movie that was it took place in Koreatown in LA. Is that she said you live near?
Well, I live in the southern outskirts near the South Bay of LA, so I can see the sweep of LA from where I'm at.
Oh, okay.
Okay, south. I'm trying to figure out where you are. Are you near Long Beach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where I live is where the battle for Canada happened.
Ooh.
Where we fought the Americans to not be a part of you.
Well,
Seems like
why
we
is
should do
well
that
done.
again.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
Apparently, at some point, we burned down your White House.
I think that actually is a thing that did happen.
Yeah.
And I really love living around here because there's an area that's kind of like a gorge. And you can see deep down into the river, and I can just see like First Nation in my brain. I can see like First Nations people in like the 1800s kayaking. There's just it oozes history. This area, it's really cool for that. Oh, and the other thing about this area that's super cool, and it's an American thing, is this used to be the end of the Underground Railway, so we have a church that's like the Harriet Tubman Church.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's cool. Okay,
our local library has like a ton of Black history, because I guess there used to be a museum, and when it shut down, they gave everything to the library in St. Catharines. And so I was talking to a librarian about it, and she was saying that she gets calls from like all around the world because they have all this history of Black families.
That's cool.
That's neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course you got to have the guy doing the selfie. You know.
I love the mushroom smile. That's excellent.
Yeah. It was kind of a Simpsons smile, I realize. But
You should have some like flashes. You know what I mean? Like flashes, like paparazzi flashes.
Let's see, and then I think I'm gonna add the gallows in here, but I'm gonna make it black. We're just gonna have shapes.
It's a dark thing.
It's a dark thing. We're just gonna have shapes on the gallows. We're not gonna focus on it too much.
Well, you don't want to harsh the mellow, but
yeah,
it was a revolution, okay?
Exactly.
It wasn't a coup. It was a revolution.
Well, okay, so the mushrooms on the gallows were bad mushrooms. Yeah, and then Kay says that's a good way to put it. Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
so I'm having
here. I gotta go because it'll be cold. It's winter time and it snowed.
Oh no.
Let me go get my coffee.
Yes. Yes, she puts up with the taste of coffee for this show. She's not much of a coffee drinker. I am. I love coffee, but that's just
coffee
me.
is the best.
Yeah. Yeah, on the morning show they were talking about coffee. Dale believes that everything is an addiction. And so when I'm like, oh, I just, I have my 1 cup and I drink it between like 8 a.m. and noon, is that like an addiction? He's like, yes.
Well, I know that I'm personally terribly addicted to oxygen. I can't seem to give that shit up.
Yeah.
I tried it for a few minutes at a time. It just doesn't work.
It's interesting about oxygen is it's slowly burning us from the inside since the
Well, no,
moment
see-
when we first
see?
breathe it.
The problem with these addictions is they come with downsides.
Yeah, you know, and so it's like oxidation, that's part of aging, right? And so when you are like wrinkled and you have a lot of like maybe texture in your skin and stuff, it's because it's had a lot of exposure to oxygen, right? And so what you do is you put lotion on it that limits that oxygen exposure. And that's why people who use lotion look younger.
That and they're packed with the devil, but
I thought it was human growth hormones.
or alternate.
Maybe.
Why not both?
Well, now everybody's on Ozempic.
Yeah, and that too.
Yeah, and Ozempic's interesting because they just had the Golden Globes and everybody was calling people like skeletal and like saying that they just didn't look healthy. Like, yeah, I don't know.
It's weird as how they all look the same now.
I mean, that's been true of every decade, though.
Sure.
You've had people who have tried to stand out of that, like when Lady Gaga was wearing meat dresses, she was standing out, but now everybody's wearing weird clothing.
I was talking more about how everyone's getting the fat sucked out of their cheeks, and everybody's getting the giant lips.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, that trends like that come and go. And I love the fact when somebody is like, I'm beautiful, I don't care what is in right now, I'm going to be who I am. And I find that more attractive than anything else. It's like a man going bald, okay? A man going bald, a man thinks when he starts going bald, it's the worst thing in the world, right? But you know what? What is sexy is confidence. And if you are a man who's going bald and you're like, fine, okay, I accept that, and you kind of shave your hair short and you let your hairline shine, and you use lotions up there and stuff to make sure that your skin's nice and healthy on top, and you just wear it proud, that is attractive.
Confidence is usually attractive in some form or other.
Do you know who Armin Shimmerman is?
I do.
You probably do. Have you worked with him?
I have not, but a friend of mine did.
So I had the pleasure of meeting him at an after party of a project where we ended up having like a rap party that was at a club, and then he happened to be there for some other reason. And so I got to meet him because he happened to be at the club. And it's Armin Shimmerman, right? He's a short, little, rat-finked face little man that you would think would be the most unattractive person in the room. But he carried himself with so much confidence. Hi, Jeremy! He carried himself with so much confidence, and he was so funny, and he was so, like, on top of things with, like quick-witted jokes that, like, every woman in that room was hanging on his arm, practically.
Well, humor is a powerful thing.
Yeah. And so it's don't tell me that it's like, oh no, I'm going bald. It's like, I don't care. So you're going bald. Who cares? Men worry about it, but they shouldn't.
Well, most people will have their insecurities, and they just gotta sort of just accept them and move on with whatever strengths they have in lieu of that.
Yeah. I don't know, but that's just me talking out of my bum.
As most people do.
But
so Thomas, what are you working on these days?
I'm working. Well, I can't say what I'm working on currently because it's not on the air yet. But the last thing I worked on was a primetime comedy called Grimsburg. It was on Fox, and it was sort of a cop procedural comedy. Oh. And each week there was a grisly murder that needed to be solved.
Sounds grim.
Yes, in Grimsburg it was very grim. And so it was a whole level of how can we enjoy the subtle humor in a grisly murder. And so I got to draw many a grisly murder victim.
Did you ever read the book Homicide?
I'm not.
Because that would have helped with your research.
I'm sure.
They made a comic about it recently. I've got it, but I also have the book.
Yeah, but they had gallows humor in that book.
Is that what they based that TV show Homicide on?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's the guy who also wrote The Wire. I don't know if you ever watched that.
Oh, The Wire was amazing.
Yeah, same guy, David Simon. He actually spent a lot of time with the cops, and that's what the book Homicide is about, is his time with them as a journalist.
Yeah, and cool. It's an eye-opening book because it makes you angry.
Excellent.
And it makes you angry not for the reasons you would think. You're not even mad at the cops. You're not even mad at like procedure or people or anything. You're just kind of mad at it all.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, I need to get my aggro going.
Yeah. Get angry. That'll make things better.
Right? It always works. It always works.
Yeah.
Remember, if you have too much chill going on, fuck that right up.
One of the cool things about Homicide, I don't know if either of you guys knew this, but when you watch the Law and Order Special Victims Unit, there was that character Munch.
Played by
Yeah. Oh, he was on so many shows.
Well, he was on Homicide.
Yeah. But he was also on X-Files. He was on like Picket Fences of all shows. He was on the Simpsons. He was on like I'm trying to think all the shows that he was on. Like he was on a lot more shows than just Homicide. Like he had a whole Munch universe.
He's very prolific.
Yes, very prolific Munch.
He's behind the scenes. He's actually the protagonist of the world.
Yeah, it's all about Munch.
And he was an excellent stand-up comic.
That's true. That is true. He was really funny. Was he ever on SNL?
Not as a character, but maybe as a host.
Well, as Munch, I know he was.
Stand-up comic in the 80s, and in the 80s, a lot of them hosted.
As Munch, I know he was on SNL because I know that they did a couple skits with that character. So there's more the Munchverse.
There you go. There's a whole timeline.
Yes, he was in Scarface, says Gail.
Really?
But was he Munch?
I would say not, probably.
Okay, I think I might be done with TikTok madness. This is a pretty good indication of like TikTok madness. Yeah, we know there's a helicopter. There's like destruction and fire. I don't know.
Oh, he was on the very first episode.
Of?
He was in a sketch. He was made an uncredited appearance as a juror. The very first episode of SNL.
Aw, very cool. I didn't know that.
But he was never a cast member or a host. Oh, but you know what he was? He was the warm-up comedian for SNL.
See,
he entertained a live studio audience before the show, but he was only on it in the first episode. That's interesting.
He had that like SNL humor. Was he ever in the writer's room?
No, he had never had anything to do with it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna call that done. Okay, so I'm gonna start on panel 3. And so what happens after the dog makes a puppet?
Puppet's awesome.
Maybe he could be doing a speech puppeting the puppet as he's, the brains behind things.
We'll have him behind a podium. That would hide him sort of from manipulating the puppet.
Sure.
What does our audience think?
Dale says cop shows peaked with Dragnet.
So, okay, so what does our audience think? Should we go with the puppet giving a speech to rally the revolution, to organize it, to centralize it?
Spread it out.
Oh my God, he was on Sesame Street and Cafe Flesh. I think he means Cafe Fresh or Cafe Flesh.
He was pretty popular in the New York stand-up comedy scene, so I'm not surprised that he was in a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
I've got an old episode of A&E Live at the Improv, and he's hosting it.
Munch, Jeremy. We're talking about the actor that
Richard
played Munch.
Belzer.
Richard Belzer, thank you. No, Cafe Flesh. Okay, but seriously, let's go back to panel 3. Like, what's happening in panel 3? Let me put Thomas Perkins' amazing panel in the big window while we're trying to figure out what to do with my awful panel.
I think you should explain a bit more about what's going on. It says a puppet master, and then and maybe in the next panel it should say to confuse the masses. Like, what's the point of the puppet? Like, what's the puppet supposed to be doing?
Yes. Okay, we'll do that. That sounds good. Yes. Okay. A puppet master to take the fall when everything falls. To take the fall when everything falls.
There you go.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to have him like propping up the puppet behind the podium so that he can get away. And I think that, yeah,
that works.
Yeah, the puppet should take off its puppet suit to show a fist of solidarity. Then all of the other puppets strip to show they are all fists. But there aren't any other puppets. They're mushrooms. There's just the one puppet. There's just one puppet, Dale.
Dale just wants them naked so he can see their mushroom butts again.
He just wants mushroom butts.
It's a common affliction.
To take the fall. Yeah. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have like the podium here, right? And then like here's the microphone, right? And then we're gonna have
podiums and a microphone.
Yeah, we're gonna have the mushroom puppet here.
You know what I learned the other day?
Oh, what's that?
How many of you think Dean Martin was a drinker?
He was a drinker, wasn't he?
No, apparently it was apple juice in those cups all the time because he had to be the straight man to Jerry Lewis. He couldn't do it drunk.
Well, I knew that. I knew that when he was on stage, he was sober. But as soon as he's off stage, like
but they all were drunk off stage.
Yeah,
that was that generation.
There was a cookbook or something, the Rat Pack cookbook that he and like Frank Sinatra did, and it was like how to make a martini, and it was like, oh, you look at the bottle of vermouth. You just look at it. It's like you don't have any vermouth in there whatsoever. Yeah.
But yeah, he cultivated that impression that he was drunk all the time. But he was not actually at all.
That's he was interesting because he was very quick-witted, and Jerry Lewis thought he was smarter than Dean Martin, but Dean Martin had like street smarts and had put up with people like Jerry Lewis his whole life. So he knew how to deal with people like Jerry Lewis. And so it's like it always felt like with their act, Jerry Lewis was always trying to get one over on Dean Martin, and Dean Martin just always blocked him at every turn. And I think it drove Jerry Lewis crazy after a while. A fakeaholic, says Dale. And then having Fist of Solidarity. Okay, was dealing with insurance stuff, but I'm here now. Hi, Magic Marmot. How are you doing? Yeah, and what I'll do is I'll have our dog tiptoeing away like this, you know, so that he's like, don't see me. Let's see. Oh, Fury Den. Oh, I hadn't seen you in a while. Richard Belzer was in the movie called The Puppet Masters. Nice link to the stream.
Oh, good.
Oh, that
callback. That's a good callback.
Yeah, that is a good callback. Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that movie.
I'm not. It's scary. I don't watch scary movies.
Oh, I love scary movies. But I love good movies, but I have a soft spot in my heart for bad movies. And I love when they're so bad that they kind of roll back around the circle and become good again. And especially when you're watching them with like a good group of friends who's not afraid to like make fun of them with you. And I know it's like totally the Mystery Science Theater 3000 thing, but I do it all the time.
Dale says The Puppet Masters is epic. It's a sci-fi, not a horror, but I can see the VHS box in my head. I always thought it was scary.
Well, it could have been scary in its own way as a sci-fi, because that's not uncommon to cross the streams that way.
There's crossover between sci-fi and horror.
I mean, there's some scary movies I've watched. Like, I've been forced to watch a bunch because I've always had a boyfriend that really likes them. But there's some that I've actually enjoyed. Like, I remember really liking Ginger Snaps. I don't know if you ever saw that one.
Yeah, I like Ginger Snaps. That one's a good one.
What was another good one? Oh, Nightbreed, that Clive Barker one was really good. And I'll watch
like a horror adventure that one
does, but there's some of his that I haven't seen. Like, I remember I couldn't watch Existence because it scared me so much, but I did read the book.
It's a trippy movie.
Have you ever read Stephen King?
Yeah, of course I have. Of course I have.
So you can handle reading horror and imagining the worst of the worst in your head.
And it still scares me, but I don't know, for some reason when it's movies, it terrifies me more. Because I have a very overactive imagination. So, like, I start to imagine these things happening. I posted this once on Facebook. This guy did this video where he's, like, walking upstairs to his bedroom. But he's at the foot of the stairs and he turns off the light. And then all of a sudden,
and the little things
like a maniac and someone in black suit is chasing after him. Because it's just like, I always get that, like, when I'm in the basement. Like, I have this little weed hut, and I swear to you, almost every time I unzip it, I'm like, is somebody in there? Like, I'm terrified that somebody's going to be in there. No one's ever in there.
So, Furidan says, The Night They Saved Christmas, one of the best bad movies I've ever watched. Magic Marmot says Alien. Dale says this is a horror series, The Puppet Master, which is different franchise. Magic Marmot says Fright Night. And then it's my translation bot. Ignore that. Jeremy says, I used to want to see the Gospel Bill Gunslinger movies riffed on Mystery Science Theater 3000. I think the reason they can't do that yet is because it would mean Kenneth Copeland would get residuals, and that's not on board for anyone at Mystery Science Theater 3000, which is legit. I hope they find a way to do it to ensure Away Copeland does not get a dime. I've made movies and special effects for so long, I'm completely jaded, says Magic Marmot. Jeremy says, I hope the Gunslinger movies get riffed on Best of the World on RLM. And then Dale says, The Puppet Master is based on Robert Heinlein's novel, which was ripped off for Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The Puppet Masters is an epic low-budget sci-fi with an amazing Donald Sutherland. And then Jeremy says Red Letter Media.
Yeah, Red Letter Media is great. I've watched a bunch of theirs.
Let me know when you're done with your panel, too.
Sure. I'll be done shortly.
Okay.
Shortly.
Based on a Heinlein, eh? I do like one of his books.
Some Heinlein's good, some of it's not. Stranger
Yeah,
in a
I
Strange
think
Land,
I
I
read
like.
one. I think it was called Friday, and it was just awful. I think it was like the last book he ever wrote. It was really bad.
Well, Starship Troopers is way different than the movie, and yet still on point. It's weird, and yeah, he is a writer of his time. Okay, like many science fiction writers.
Yeah,
like I love Alfred Bester. Stars My Destination, my favorite novel of all time, still has a rape scene in it.
Recommending this to someone.
Yeah.
The feminist sci-fi writer from the 80s, Sherry S. Tepper.
Yeah.
Really good.
The intro for one of those gunslinger movies is so bad it's hilarious. You can make a million jokes out of it. What was the book? I was trying to read Jeremy's comment, so I'm sorry.
It's called The Gate to Women's Country. It's by Sherry S. Tepper. My friend and I, we were talking about Margaret Atwood, and I was just saying that this writer, she's really good too, Sherry Tepper. Nice. Feminist science fiction.
I think Margaret Atwood's probably the only feminist science fiction I've read. There was one book I read called Expendable that was science fiction, but it was kind of bad, but I don't think it was technically feminist. There was like a see-through beautiful girl in it,
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the trope.
Well, I'm gonna reread it before I give it to her because I read it like 20 years ago, but it was really good because it was all about like how well, here I'll read the back. Since the flames died 300 years ago, human civilization has evolved into a dual society. Women's country, where walled towns enclose what's left of the past civilization, nurtured by women and a few non-violent men. And then the adjacent garrisons, where warrior men live, the lost brothers, sons, and lovers of those in women's country. Two societies, two competing dreams, two ways of life kept apart by walls stronger than stone. And there's a gate between them. And it's also from the perspective of a couple of the children, like a male and a female. Because what happens is the male children have to decide at a certain age whether they're going to go live with their fathers in the warrior encampment or whatever, or if they're going to stay with their mothers and like be like scribes or farmers or whatever. And it's actually now in this time and age where we're all talking about like toxic masculinity, it's actually a really pithy book, I think. And so I want to read it and see, like I said, it's been forever since I read it. It came out in 1988. She's really good, Sherry Tepper. She's written like 3 or 4 books that I quite like.
Nice. Yeah, I wish I was able to read a lot more when I was younger. I read a lot of Star Wars novels.
That's cool. Good. You mean like the sequels, the Timothy Zahn sequels? I've got all those.
Oh, no. I'm talking the whole expanded universe.
Nice.
Yeah. Wow, you're going like full on like drawing.
Habit.
Yeah, you're going on like full on drawing. I'm doing like quickie drawings.
Well, I'm done, so we can leave it at that.
Yeah. Let's move you on to panel 4. Because it's beautiful.
Gail wants everyone to know that the novelization of Zardoz was released recently.
Let's see, the intro for one of those gunslingers movies. Oh yeah, okay. Jeremy Fiscaldo, I'm seeing episodes available on YouTube. Is that the one? And then not as timely as Zardoz, the novelization was re-released recently. And then is it on Kindle? Is there toxic femininity or non-toxic masculinity? He's doing gradients.
Hey, I hope I'm not going too slow or anything.
No. I'm teasing you, but I am gonna move you to panel 4. Yeah. Yeah, you're having fun. I can tell. You're like, oh, it's a dog building a puppet. Oh, this is awesome. It's okay. It's gonna take me a while to draw panel 3. So you got some time.
Excellent.
Yeah. I got a whole crowd scene here. Let's see. Oh my gosh. Think so. And then there's no toxic femininity. Excellent. I'll have to look. And then toxic masculinity is doing things harmful to oneself and to others. Beautiful work, Thomas. Yeah, it really is. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. It puts me to shame.
No, not at all.
Yeah, I've learned to stay in my lane.
No, see,
when it comes to my art.
You're pumping out masses and crowds and things. I just had to do a dog and a puppet. Oh yeah.
Yes, but it was a gorgeous dog and puppet.
You're very kind.
If you want toxic femininity, watch the classic movie Ilsa, Harem Keeper of the Oil Sheiks. Oh, okay, so toxic femininity. Let's talk about this for a second. Girl cliques. Girl cliques are toxic femininity. You know, where it's like you're not wearing the right clothes, you're not like where your hair's not right. You know, how come your nails look like that? And it's all very high school, and it usually stops there, but sometimes those cliques continue into later ages. So at least that's, I don't know, there is toxic femininity. I would argue there is. Yeah. I know some very toxic feminines, and then trad wives are toxic. They become HOA Karens. Yeah. That's a good argument.
HOA Karens are the worst.
Yeah. Yeah, HOA Karens. When I had to live in a neighborhood with an HOA, we kept getting notices on the door that there was stuff wrong with my yard. And I found out that the head of the HOA actually lived 3 houses down from me. So I knocked on his door. I brought him down to my front yard, and I literally said, "Is there anything wrong with my front yard?" And he said no. And I handed him the notice, and I'm like, "Why the hell am I getting these then?" Right? And I never received one again.
I had a run-in with an HOA that I was part of for a short period of time, and they wanted me to take part in voting on some nonsense because they were like, well, and the argument, I was like, I don't care what you guys do, just leave me alone. And they're like, well, what if your neighbor painted their garage door purple? And I was like, well, if I liked it well enough, maybe I'd have them paint my garage door purple too. I don't care, whatever.
Yeah.
They got really mad. They were really shirty about it.
You know, it who cares if it's the purple house on the block, all right?
Exactly. I'm like, I don't care. As long as they're living their life and they're not impinging on mine, whatever.
It's like, you know, when you live in a town and there's like, somewhere in Minneapolis, I don't remember where, but somewhere in Minneapolis, there is a house that has a T-Rex in the front yard. Okay? They dress it up for holidays. They put little coats on it in the wintertime. Right? In the summertime, if it's a really hot day, they'll put sunglasses on it and give it a beach ball and stuff. And everyone loves the T-Rex. It's just a T-Rex house. Right?
What's not to love?
Why would you deny the world a T-Rex house?
I see no reason.
Yes, toxic masculinity is adhering too strongly to masculine stereotypes to the point it is harmful. Toxic femininity is the adhering to feminine stereotypes to similar extremes. For the masculinity, it could be internalized misandry, whereas toxic femininity is linked to internalized misandry. Miss Ginny, I can't talk right now. God bless him. And then fair enough. I believe anyone can be toxic regardless of gender. That is true. Yeah, you can have toxic people regardless of gender. You can have just toxic personalities in general. Misogyny.
It's missing an O.
Yeah, I can't talk sometimes, so it's my own fault. I'll blame it on me. But yes, I get what you're saying. I don't know. I feel like sometimes toxic femininity is the need to fit a role and have others fit that role as well. And that role sometimes is in the office. Sometimes that role is in the kitchen. Sometimes that role is if you have a line of models and all the models have to model the clothing, and there's a particular pecking order of who goes out first and stuff. That toxic femininity shows up in that situation. And because all these women are trying to fill this role that they think they need to fill in this situation, and it doesn't need to be there. I've had some wine, so feel free to blame me, says Fairyden. And then when a majority of your net worth is tied up in your house, to get paranoid that any non-bland house of whack jobs would reduce with the price of your house if you have to sell. So more putting their own opinions on others.
We don't really have a lot of HOAs in Canada, thankfully.
They're terrible. You should stay away from them.
Well, I know what they are. I've seen many TV and movies with them in
it.
But yeah, we don't have a lot apparently.
Yeah, they're it's an excuse for Karens to feel something, usually of power.
Well, Dale's got a good point. Like, I'm not saying he's right. I'm just saying he has a good point. I love houses with character, and I'd say bring them all on. But if you're like somebody who's trying to make a profit or an investment in land, and you've got the gorgeous house full of mosaic next to you, it might bring the value of the neighborhood down. I think that's what Dale's referring to, isn't he?
Yeah, well,
you dumbass, that's awesome. He says in Canada you have HOAs.
HOAs. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna fix this. I'm sorry. Okay, that should change it to 60 minutes so it doesn't pop up as often. I'm sorry about that. It got reset the other day. The guy who built the bot, the server went down, and so he reminded me that I needed to reset the time, and I forgot to. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry I failed you all.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. I'm just trying to, if anyone comes in and they're speaking German, they can Guten Tag. And I can be like, Guten Tag back. Trying to be inclusive. Yeah, so
which is all to the good.
Yeah. And are you drawing the dog again?
No, I didn't know what we were doing for the fourth panel, so I was like,
yeah, we never figured it out. So,
yeah, so I was sort of like in a holding pattern.
Okay, so the dog's sneaking away from the mushrooms.
Yeah. The more dough you have to spend on the house, the more of an ass you think you have the right to be. Let's figure out what's in panel 4 first, okay?
Yeah. Where's the dog going? Why is he sneaking away? He had a pretty sweet life here with.
At this point, maybe he's not sneaking away. Maybe you have him behind the scenes, and you see all the crowd of the mushrooms getting excited, or you skip to another thing. You cut to a different part of your story, or
Dale wants mushroom butts.
Hey, who doesn't want mushroom butts? Maybe you could have your Cthulhu shroom having a response to all that's going on, or not, or.
Aw, it didn't do that. Dang it! must be broken again. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm having too much fun with the bot. Okay. I was thinking he's sneaking away to take the fall when everything falls, right? And so that's why he put up the mushroom, and all the mushrooms don't know.
So that means Cthulhu's Shroom is coming.
Well, okay, if it's televised, wouldn't Cthulhu's Shroom see it? Or would Cthulhu's Shroom see it on his TikTok since he sees all?
Yeah, let's have him watching TikTok, just scrolling, and then all of a sudden he sees the revolution and the factory's burning, and he's like, wait a minute.
I have assets in that factory.
But wait, maybe a TikTok shot.
Butts, translate German. No, you have to put the like exclamation in front of it. I think translate. Hello there. Yeah, see? It just didn't work when I responded.
That's the introduction. It's not an actual translation.
No, I just said hello there. So it went alo top, which is, and then it does the introduction thing. So, see if I went like, translate.
Hello chat is not hello there.
I know, but if I went translate Spanish, this is the show Philo about making a comic from your suggestions, right? Then you can see it translates that, right? Estoy aquí para ayudar a hacer de the web and vulgar. And yeah.
No, but you don't have the web anywhere in what you've said. It's the introduction.
Damn it. So, okay, it's broken. I will talk to him. I will let him know that it's not translating anything.
Comunidad creativa, vibrante, multilingual, multinacional. So that's a creative, vibrant, communicative, multilingual, multinational. You didn't write any of that.
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
The magic of bots. It's going free range, doing what it wants to do.
I seriously am trying to have like a good bot that is not.
No, but I understand that, but you should also know that it's not working.
Yes, well, I realize that now, and I will fix that. It sucks.
The other wants you guys to work in a jetpack somehow.
A jetpack? What? The dog is in a jetpack?
Well, he had a whole thing going on lower. Where is it? Oh no, that was Frieden said, what about having him escape down a hidden trapdoor hatch below the podium? That way he can get away even if the puppet is televised. And then Dale says, there's a glass case under the podium with a sign that says break glass in case of revolution. And the case contains a jetpack. So
okay.
Some good ideas going on there.
Okay, is that what Thomas is drawing?
I don't know. Thomas is drawing Cthulhu Shroom, seeing the mushrooms having the TikTok.
Okay, so then that's my next panel is the jetpack.
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the jetpack.
Okay, that's then.
So
you know what?
Is the jetpack going to bring them back to Philo? Is that what we're planning on doing? Because we're coming up to the end, are we not?
We are at 7:54 my time, so we still have a half hour.
No, I just mean, remember Rod Serling was wrapping things up?
Ah, yes, you mean the end of the story.
Yes.
Okay, possibly.
Magic Marmot thinks that everyone should break glass with their butts.
So is there, just to be polite, is there, I forget what Cthulhu Shroom looks like. Is there a canonical look I should adhere to, or can I play with it a bit?
You can play with it a bit, because he's like a lumpy mass of Jabba.
He's a mushroom, but he has like tentacles.
Yeah,
on
he's
his
doing
face,
it. He's drawing that.
and that's like it. That's as far as his design has gone. I drew him fat.
Yeah,
You
like
know,
Jabba the Hutt, almost.
Yeah,
Actually, no. To me, he looks more, the way you draw him is more like one of the ghosty monsters in Spirited Away, like the big fat white radish-looking guy.
Oh yeah, I guess I kind of do.
But the other
that.
thing that you do that I really like that everybody has been doing is they've been putting tiny little mushrooms on his body. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Just
he's got
growing
mushrooms
off of
all
him.
over.
Cool. That gives
Okay.
me stuff to play with.
Okay, and see. Okay, so what is it? It's a tiny break glass with your butt is the caption, with a jetpack.
Break glass with your butt.
Wait, in case of revolution, break glass, and then we'll have the dog breaking it with his butt, and there will be a jetpack on the inside. And
Thomas, you should have a panel right where you're drawing, like just a little circle panel that shows what's on his phone.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you have that space in the lower right if you wanted to do just a little circle insert.
Sure.
You started with comics. You know what I'm talking about.
I got you. I feel you.
Okay.
Make
Now
it happen.
I do have you for a half hour, all right? We were talking about some cool stuff before I turned the camera on. Like tell us some stories about animation. You know, like what's it like to work in the big leagues?
Well, I mean, I'm one of those people that is very glad to have the history I have working in animation. I'm just one of those high-functioning comic book nerds who managed to find a way to feed my kids by drawing goofy things for money, which I think is fantastic. I was one of those people, I didn't go to school for this necessarily. I always sort of thought that when I was young, I didn't think that they still made cartoons in America. I thought it was all outsourced. So I didn't really go into it, educationally. And then when I was getting out of college for art, a buddy of mine said, hey, if you're looking for work, I know people in animation. I was like, what? And so I was late to the party, but I started looking around, and it turned out some of my friends from my pre-college graduation days also happened to be in animation. And lo and behold, years later, I became an animation person. I've been doing it now for about 29 years. And I'm greatly pleased to have been able to do so, because it's a lot of fun for me to get to draw odd folks and weird worlds and things like that.
So just to let my audience know, some of the shows off the top of my head, I'm not even looking at your IMDb. This is just because I'm a fan. Godzilla, Extreme Ghostbusters, Big Guy and Rusty, the Batman, Ben 10, and then you also did the other Ben 10s that were after like the sequel shows.
Sure, I got to do freelance on a bunch of those because I knew the people who did those shows, and every so often they go like, Perkins, I need a monster. Like, okay, cool, I'll draw a monster for you.
Ben 10, draw 20 monsters right now.
I have done that. There was a point where I did freelance for Ben 10 with the toy company Bondi, where they had an online game where we had an episode where he breaks the Omnitrix watch, and suddenly started cross-pollinating the aliens, so that mix and match parts and things like that. And they thought that was cool. So, we'd like to make an online game where we do it to as many of them as possible. And toys. And so, as freelance gigs go, it was one of my favorites because I got to just cross-pollinate. I did over 100 of them at least.
Nice.
And that was a lot of fun.
Well, I really enjoyed Big Guy and Rusty the Boy Robot.
Oh,
but I mean, that's because I love Jeff Darrow's artwork, right?
Oh yeah, no, that was a real bucket list gig for me. I enjoyed that because I liked the comic beforehand.
Yeah.
And when it came to Sony and we got to do it, I was on. I was doing development on Starship Troopers for animation, and this came up, and they said, "Well, would you like to do this?" I'm like, "Why, yes, I would." It's got monsters and robots and aliens and all kinds of stuff. And so I figured that would be the thing. So I had a lot of fun on that show. I wish we got to do more because the series ends on a terrible cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
That's not your fault.
No.
Okay, I repeat,
No.
that's not your fault, Thomas.
Though I
It's
weep
not
about
your
it.
fault. It's not your fault.
Weeping. The angst I possess deep in my soul, Amber.
We do have a question from the audience, which is from Dale. What software is the big one in animation now? Toon Boom, he asks.
Yeah, Toon Boom, Harmony and Toon Boom are huge. Flash, not so much anymore. But a lot of shows don't actually use that anymore. Like just for what I do, I mostly work in Photoshop. But yeah, I did a stint where I was working at on Paradise PD and Farzar, and that was all Harmony, which is a Toon Boom product.
Nice.
So, for sure.
What like I know nothing's done hand drawn anymore. Like I think the closest is probably Film Roman, because I don't know what program they're working in these days, but like they still draw.
Well, it's still hand drawn. You're just hand drawing it on a machine versus on paper. But I mean, I did come from the days of pen and ink and Xerox machines and whatever. And I even started working on like Photoshop until we get into the Ben 10 days. Yeah, no, it's funny because people assume because you're using computers that it's not hand drawn, but just like what we're doing now, that's how it works on my day job every day. 10 hours a day. You're just doing it on a computer.
Oh, it sounds awesome.
It's fun. I enjoy it. I mean, hey, it's a lot better than hurting people for money. So I will say that's a plus.
Yeah.
So Dale wants to know, is Thomas mostly doing character design?
Yes.
And also, is most animation you are seeing frame by frame or puppet rig?
It really depends on the show. If you're looking at a lot of primetime stuff, it can be a more puppet rig, with Toon Boom and stuff. But if you're looking at your action shows, unless I'm greatly mistaken, and it's changed recently, a lot of that is hand animated frame by frame. But I mean, it can really depend. I mean, the thing about the industry right now is it's changing so fast. Mm-hmm. That there's a lot of cross-pollination. So for instance, on Grimsburg, the show I worked on, though it was a primetime comedy, there were parts of it that functioned almost like an action show because of the nature of the storytelling they wanted to do. So they would do puppets for part, and then they'd actually have to do frame by frame for other parts.
Mm-hmm.
So it really can depend.
Do you find that frustrating, or do you find that invigorating because of the variety?
It doesn't bother me. My whole thought is it's always good to. There's always new things to learn. So if somebody wants me to, learn a new software, a new program, a new way to handle it, I'm super excited to do it. I would say the only part that I find frustrating right now is the concept of like the AI stuff.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my next questions.
Because that takes the humans out of the equation altogether, and except for like prompt jockey stuff, and I don't aspire to be a prompt jockey or a cleanup artist for a machine.
No.
So
that's the meaning.
Yeah, no. I feel like there's a whole lot of stuff in the business. I mean, animation is a large team effort, and it's not just one person doing everything and whatever. So there, whether you're doing props or character design or background design or writing or any of that stuff, it's a very cohesive team endeavor. And the idea of replacing any of those cogs with a machine, I'm not super down with. And people like to conflate, like, oh, well, it's just like using Photoshop. It's like, no. Because Photoshop doesn't do it without you. Or at least it didn't before they started adding AI to it.
Did you know that every AI prompt is about 20 gallons?
Which is also horrifying. It's not worth it. It's like, just be somebody.
Oh no, Robin, come back to me.
Oh no.
There she is.
Sorry, connection got lost.
That's
now
okay.
I'm back.
Let's see. we got a little heart for Magic Pharma, and I don't think we have a way to not lose to AI for commercial stuff. And then Kay says, wonderful. Yeah, I love Cthulhu Shroom. I love what's happening with him. Yeah, because everything Cthulhu...
The music actually suits him. It's kind of weird.
What, the Cthulhu Shroom?
Yeah, like I'm looking at him and I'm like, the music is like really appropriate.
Yeah, it again, it's that weird, we're talking about AI and there it is.
Did I tell you about the crazy dog that I had to... No, I didn't have to anything, but that I learned about today? Did I tell you about that already?
No, you didn't.
Okay, so where I work, one of the good things about it is that we have these giant bone marrow bones, and so either people are buying them for their dogs or they're buying them to make a soup or something. But 9 times out of 10 it's for the dog, right? So
yeah.
I always ask about their dog, and it's fun to have a little conversation with them because everyone loves talking about their dogs. This woman had like 5 of these bones, and they're big. They're like this big, they're like, I guess, cow leg bones or whatever. So I said, what kind of dog do you have? She has one of those big golden doodle things, like the poodles, like a big poodle thing.
Mm-hmm.
Bred with, well, it's probably scientifically bred, like in the lab, with a St. Bernard. And I was like, how big is this dog? And she said, when he's up on its hind legs, he's like 6'2".
Jeez.
I know. I was like, oh my God. I can't even imagine.
That is a prodigiously large animal.
What?
That's a prodigiously large animal.
Yeah, it's like a horse.
It's like, are you using it to like pull a sleigh?
Yeah, I'm out in the wilds of Canada. Oh, hey, I got something really cool to show you guys that I got today.
Ooh. Showing stuff.
Second.
Okay, when you're getting ready, I'll read comments. Let's see. Furyden said, that's one of the reasons I got rid of Grammarly. They started scrubbing my work for their AI side. I know I'm nowhere close to a widespread writer, but I still don't want my stuff stolen. Dale says, is Thomas aware of the animation software Moho and the painting app Clip Studio Paint?
I just bought it.
What, Clip Studio?
I got a Clip Studio and Moho because I want to learn this stuff.
If you want like a Clip Studio quick how-to tutorial, I can give you one.
That would be exciting.
Yeah, we could do that sometime, and I can walk you through it, and I can send you some videos that will show you how to use some of the vector tools in Clip Studio Paint, and I can show you how to use the perspective tools. So we can do that sometime. We can schedule that. And then Dale says, Dog Soup. Magic Marmot says, I know people that have been displaced because the companies they work for, CyberSource. That's my word. I got to make words. I have a license, a poetic license.
No, nice. CyberSource is a really good word. I didn't know that, Furry Dan, about Grammarly. Thank you for letting me know that, because I too am not a super amazing writer, but I don't want my stuff touched or stolen. Wait, you want to put me on the big screen?
Yeah. Let me put you on the big screen.
This is not what I initially meant to show you. This is just a precursor to what I was going to show you. It's on top of what I was going to show you.
Just a sec, I got to grab you. Oh, no. Let's see. It's giving me acting up stuff real quick. I have to convince it that I know what I'm doing. Okay.
How close I can get. Okay, so this is like a comic strip that when I was in Army Cadets, before I was into even any kind of alternative comics, I was only into superhero comics at the time. I was in Army Cadets, and I went into, like, we had to go to church on Sundays, but we got to choose which church we went to. Yeah. And I didn't really believe in anything, but I went to this Protestant church, and he had this on the wall, and it's Jules Pfeiffer, and I did that cheap lamination thing where I put the tape, where you do the clear tape, and it says, I live inside a shell that's inside a wall, that's inside a fort, that's inside a tunnel, that's under the sea, where I am safe from you. If you really loved me, you'd find me.
Oh.
Jules Pfeiffer's genius. Anyways, I've held on to that forever. But no, that's not what I wanted to show you. Okay, so I have like this like cute little collection of Canadian coins.
Yeah.
Because we do cute stuff with our money. We do cute stuff like our dime has a sailboat, and so we put water under the sailboat in blue.
Nice.
Or
Of course you do.
this is the best one. So this is the Northern Lights. You see, it glows in the dark. This one
Nice.
glows in the dark. It's our
Nice.
Lamborghinis. And we got like Canadian flags and stuff.
Nice. So
But-
are you coloring these in, or is this the currency as it comes out?
No, this is the currency as it comes out. We also have one for marriage equality. That's a nice one. I always try to get the feminist ones too. Where's my marriage equality one? Here it is. This one actually came out in color, and I haven't found it in color yet. But it's this artist. I used to know his name. Damn it! How could I forget his name?
That's
This is
cool.
this is our marriage equality one. See? But the one that I just got today is what I want to show you because it's so cool. Where is it?
See, while you look, we have.
I got so excited when I saw it today, and I'm so obsessed with it. But here, this one here, this is our toonie. But you see, it's got a black band around it. Everyone thinks it's dirty. Actually, what it is when the queen died, we made this as a sign of mourning for her. We did a black band around our toonie.
Aw.
Because our toonies usually look like this, right? They're silver and gold. So
Yeah.
black.
Yes, but you did the commemorative toonie.
Yeah. Now this is the second newest one to come out. This is the Lucy Maud Montgomery Looney. So you got Anna Green Gables on one side, you got PEI in the middle, and then you've got Lucy Maud the writer on the other side.
That's
Which I think
nice.
is pretty cool. Literary figures. But the one that came in today that I've been waiting for, it's so cool. So it's one of our new toonies, and it's in tribute to our Inuit people. And I don't know what you can see here, but there's an orca, two beluga, a narwhal, a walrus, and there's a silky woman, which is one of their fairy tales, which is a woman who can turn into a seal.
That's amazing.
I love it. I'm so in love with this coin right now.
That's way cooler than anything we have.
Oh, you got some cool stuff. I've got some of your money too. You've got a quarter with Wilma Mankiller on it. She's one of your First Nation people that's like a hero
Yeah.
of First Nations rights. I've got the Sacagawea coin. I've got a suffragette coin, I think, as well. I've got quite a few American coins. Let's
So,
see here.
catching up on comments. We see. I know people that have been displaced because of CyberSource. Oh, I'm hoping to release webcomics and pitch a graphic novel this year, says Jeremy. Very good. Magic Marmot says mirrored, and then digging the Cthulhu shroom, says Dale. Digging Thomas in general, says Magic Marmot. Jules Pfeiffer is awesome, says Dale. Kay says wow. Dale says Canada is coins. Magic Marmot says those are cool. Dale says Canada has glow-in-the-dark coins. Kay says red, our currency is blood. Magic Marmot says what an amazing idea. Kay says thank you for all that info. Dale says a dead Liz coin, that's awesome. And Dale says nice coin. Magic Marmot says I identify as South Canadian. And Dale says a tight seal.
Okay, here's my Sacagawea American dollar, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Yeah. I have a Sacagawea, yeah.
Here's
I used
the
to have a ton
Wilma.
of those.
Here's the Wilma Mankiller one.
Nice.
That's excellent.
And
Yeah,
then
when they-
this one, I don't know who she is. Betsy
Oh.
Oh,
Ross?
that's Susan B. Anthony.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, Susan B. Anthony. So that's my suffragette coin.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
Susan B.
I
Anthony.
have some American. And then here's one of my bills that's really cool. So we you guys. Well, no, you guys don't do that. we change our money a lot. Like we've got a 5 coming out that's gonna have Terry Fox on it. So this is one of our old $2 bills before the toonie existed, and the reason why I kept it is because look what's on the back.
That's cool.
That's my name. I'm a Robin. And there's a Robin. And this one here, this is my Hong Kong money. It's like pink and blue, and they're plastic like us too. A lot of the countries around the world now are going plastic like us.
I know, you guys are so ahead of the times. We're so behind.
Yeah, well, we apparently make money for other countries too.
That sounds like something Canada would do. Oh yeah, here, let me make your money for you.
Anyways, that's my weird money collection. I've got other ones too. Like there's this toonie. Yeah, here it is. This is a French-Canadian artist named Jean Riopel, and he's kind of like Canada's Jackson Pollock. But what he did that's really cool is all his paintings are what he thinks birds see when they look down.
Huh.
Oh, neat.
So it's like Jackson Pollock, but with precision. Not that Pollock wasn't precise. He had his own precision too, but like that's what Riopel did. So yeah, French-Canadian artist.
Very cool.
That's pretty neat.
Anyways, that's my money collection.
Let's see. I'm gonna put me in the big window, and because
this is funny. This is Chinese renminbi, and as you can see, Chairman Mao is not on it at all because this is the lowest denomination. So he put peasants on it. He refused to put himself on it, but he's on every single other one, but not Hong Kong money because Hong Kong's separate.
Well, he wanted to diss the British.
Yeah. Well, he wanted to do more than that. Robin lived in China for like 3 years.
I've read a lot about their history.
I used to have a coin collection, says Magic Marmot, and Canadios. And then Dale says America refuses to accept $1 coins, even though vending machines needed them. Now here the vending machines have credit card tap readers. The USA really doesn't like to change money designs because the CIA used to give foreign aid by teaching countries like pre-revolutionary Iran to counterfeit US currency.
Whoa.
All right, so you are on what, panel 4?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm on panel 5. I will jump to panel 6, and you can just have fun on panel 4. You don't even have to worry about another panel.
Excellent.
Yeah, I will.
We got about like 10, 13-ish minutes.
Yeah. So that's enough for me to do another panel. And yeah, you just make that Cthulhu shroom look awesome. So
I'm going to show you guys one more thing. I'm just going to go grab it. It's something cool. 2 cool things. 3 cool things. 3 cool things.
Okay, 3 cool things.
We're all about the cool things.
We are about the cool things. We are. Let's see. Okay, let me do this. Let me do that. So, okay, this was my last panel where the dog is breaking the rocket the rocket pack with his butt in the secret lair as the puppet is giving a speech. So then what happens?
Maybe a misfire?
With his butt.
Well,
you got it, Dale. You got him using his butt.
Yes, I did it for Dale. I did it for Dale. Is that the glass is being broken with the butt? So he puts on the rocket pack, and you're saying misfire, Thomas?
Maybe he
Okay.
broke it with his butt. So if that's the case.
Oh no, that could hurt him though. We don't want him to
Well, no, but maybe it launches and it takes him with him on a skybound adventure.
Dale's very angry. It's a jetpack, not a rocket pack.
Okay, so what's the difference between a jetpack and a rocket pack? A jetpack, I suppose, would have this kind of engine, and a rocket pack would have rocket fuel.
A rocket takes you to space. A jetpack just lets you fly around.
I imagine it's the type of engine, right?
Sure.
So what we say? Well,
Freeden says maybe the helicopter from a prior panel tries to shoot it down. That's a
We
good
could
idea.
do that, but what I'm thinking is we get back to Philo too. Because we've been with the dog the whole time.
That's true.
So I'm thinking what, like the dog spirals off, the
That's exactly what Magic Marmot just wrote. Dog escapes, but the misfire flies him into loops, spiraling away. He literally read your mind.
Well, we know each other. Yes, but so like the dog spiraling away, the helicopter shooting at him, and then he ends up with Philo. Maybe next.
He lands in Philo's lap.
Maybe that's what happens next show, right? Is what is it? It's a jetpack. Excuse me.
He gets shot down.
Let's see. The jetpack misfires, spiraling the dog into Philo's lap. Here, I can probably fit all that in. I could probably fit all that in into one panel.
Impressive feat.
Yeah, I
You're
try.
clearly a seasoned professional.
Oh, is she showing you?
Freeden says, does the dog jetpack it to a Philo airship? And then Magic Marmot thinks a circle panel with Philo in the upper left third.
Oh, maybe. What I was thinking is like we have the dog down here, right? And he's like, yeah, I got the jetpack. Okay, here's the jetpack, right? Spiral, and then dog falling. Right. I'm falling. And then Philo's lap. Right? And he's still eating ice cream. Right? He's still like having his like what the hell just happened kind of moment.
Yeah.
Like what's going on. Yeah, and then we'll have the dog like land in his lap.
Philo shot.
Yeah, but while I'm doing
Wait,
ugly
let's see your last
sketches,
week
I'm
with
gonna
me.
put Cthulhu Shroom in the main panel.
Oh, show me for a second. and then put the
Okay, yeah,
Philo.
I'll do you first.
My 3 cool things,
Okay.
and then I'm done. Okay, last of the Canadian coin, because I thought Dale might like to see this. It is an Oscar Peterson loonie, because Oscar Peterson's from Montreal.
Nice.
Pretty keen.
And then this is a Hong Kong bill. This one's an actual, more like an actual bill. I thought this was pretty, so I kept it.
Ooh.
And then on the back is one of their tallest skyscrapers, and I actually got to see the New Year's 2015's fireworks from the top of it.
That's cool.
That's cool. So you keep that as a souvenir of like, I've been there.
Exactly. And this is my dad when he was in the Airborne Regiment in the early 70s, or with late 60s. I think 68, 69. Yeah, because he's pretty young there.
What
The
a
Army
lad.
dad. Yes. And the Airborne Regiment is quite scandalous. They got disbanded for doing bad things, but my dad wasn't part of them at that point. And then this, I was bragging to James Banderas Smith about this. Check it out.
Who by the way is in the hospital right now, and we send our best wishes and hope he's doing
Yes.
better. Let's see. Excellent. Everybody needs a lap to land on. Wow. Now does Canada flavor their coins like the U.S. so kids don't swallow them? Handsome man. What is that? Is that
That's Mark Hempel. He drew Gregory for me when I went to San Diego in 2000. And I kept it in a frame because I love Gregory. And Mark Hempel is the
Nice.
bomb. agree. I mean, he did this amazing comic about a little kid in a mental institution who barely speaks. It's pretty excellent.
Let's see how much of this panel I can shrink in the next.
All right, and now you can go to the giant Cthulhu Shroom panel.
Let's see how much of this panel I can shrink in the next 5 minutes. Let's see. Very cool to meet Thomas. Do you know Chris Jones? Asked Magic Marmot.
The name's familiar, but I'm not pinging on it. What's he work on?
It's a pretty generic name, Chris Jones. Probably a lot of Chris Jones.
In fact, there may be.
Text: would Thomas know Chris Jones?
Yes,
Magic
that's
Marmot?
why he's asking. He's asking for project names. Is it the illustrator of the Young Justice comics?
I don't know that many like comic book artists, unless they're also doing animation stuff. But I know people who worked on Young Justice, the TV show.
Did you ever work directly with Bruce Timm?
I did on Green Lantern, the animated series.
How is he as a professional?
I enjoyed my experience with him very much. He was pretty on point in my experience.
Yeah. I feel like
it's
Come again?
you know who I know who works in animation? He worked on Batman Beyond, and he also is now working on Venture Brothers. Is Pat McEwen?
I don't know him, but that's
he's a long old school comic guy from like the 80s.
I'm sure. I think I know who that is.
Yeah, I don't know that many people that work in animation, but a couple here and there.
Well, Pat's buddies with Steve Cooper, and I got to interview him because he's been doing comics in France. He's also done he's done a Hellboy comic, and he's done stuff in Bob Fingerman's Minimum Wage. He really is sporadic about his comic work, but his animation work, he's quite prolific. But he's a Montreal guy, so that's how I know him.
I got 3 minutes.
Chris Jones? Is it Chris Jones that they're asking about? Is an old friend of Magic Marmot's from the 90s. He lived with them. And Jeremy wants to know what Bruce Timm is like as a person. And Jeremy also buys Young Justice art from this Chris Jones guy a lot. And then Venture Brothers, Dale says, didn't they cancel that? Probably.
No. Venture Brothers came to a beautiful conclusion.
Well, my experience with Bruce Timm as a guy was always rather mellow and cool. I mean, I was there to do the job, so we didn't hang out or anything. But my experience with him was always the nice thing I liked was he was good about his notes. He knew what he was talking about, and he could draw the hell out of it if I needed explanations. So my experience with him was great.
So you worked with him on what, the Batman animated series?
No, Green Lantern, the animated series.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It was a CGI one.
Who was the showrunner of the Batman?
The Batman,
is that new one that just
the
came out?
supervising director was Jeff Matsuda.
Because
is that the new one that just came out, the Batman? Like just before, like a couple months ago?
Come again?
Is it the one that just came out a couple months ago, the Batman?
The Batman came out in the early 2000s before my stint on Ben 10. And that was the first non-Bruce Timm Batman show. And then the one Batman show I did work on recently was The Doom That Came to Gotham, which was
that's the Mike Mignola one. Nice.
Yes.
Nice.
So I worked on that doing a lot of beasties.
Nice.
So that was fun.
Do you like designing beasties?
I do.
Yeah, but his beasties are fun. Like if you have to keep it in the same kind of realm as his style, that would be kind of fun.
So we have Venture Brothers. Didn't they cancel that? I should introduce him to the show, and then that's great. Dwayne Capizzi, I think, says Jeremy Fiscaldo, and then Moros Libre says, "Hi, how are you doing?" I'm doing pretty good, Moros. And then Magic Marmot says Spledgy. Spledgy. Let's see.
Oh yeah, that Cthulhu shroom is coming together beautifully.
Yeah, that is a beautiful Cthulhu shroom. We're at time, but I'm perfectly okay with going over if you are.
I can go over if you guys want to.
Yeah, just to finish up the panels. We don't have to draw any more than that, but just to kind of do the shading on mine, and you look like you're having fun with your growths.
That's growth.
That's right.
Yeah. Let's see. And then I came right in the middle of what is the topic. This is Philo, and then Philo is a live drawn improv jam comic. This is the thing that I always do on Saturday that I'm always like, hey, come on in and hang out with me while I'm doing this thing. And so Thomas Perkins is my guest today, who is an Emmy Award-winning artist.
Strangely enough, and I got that for drawing aliens.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna use your acolytes as my as if they were my own.
There you go. That and $5 will get you a latte.
Yeah, exactly.
Coffee shop in town.
Yeah, but he's very close to the fires right now, and so we're sending our best and hoping that things are okay out there for everybody. We know that a lot of people have lost their homes. There's a lot of normal people out there that are just not having a good time.
Basically, one of the fires alone, there's two really massive ones, one in Altadena and one in the Pacific Palisades, and each one is rivaling the size of if you just burnt Manhattan to the ground.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy. But I was watching something online where a guy was saying that they last year cut the firefighter budget by $64 million or something.
That's what I'm hearing. That's what I'm hearing. Who knows? I don't know what madness goes on behind the scenes with all that stuff, but the way people sort of do silly things with budgets, it wouldn't shock me. Because people
it's like a yearly occurrence. It's not like it's just like a once in a lifetime thing. No. So they should be prepared for it by this point. It's like us with our snow, right? Like the first snowfall, we kind of putz around. We don't know what we're doing because we're just not ready. But by the second snowfall, bam, 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 things are the way they always were.
Right. Well, the funny thing is I don't care what part of the country or the world you're in. There are certain places where they just sort of act like,
"Hey, Ollie,
that never happened." Oh my God, it's happening again. Like people building on the coast of Florida.
Mm-hmm. Like, you're going to be underwater soon, guys.
It's just going to happen.
What amazes me is that in parts of this country and other parts of the world, there's hunger lines in like rivers and streams and stuff. And people will not know what those lines are for. And then when famine comes and drought comes, they're like, I wonder why those lines are there and they're revealed when the water gets this low.
Right.
Right? And the same can be said about in Japan, they have these markers in the mountains that basically say don't build anything below this point because of tsunami, but they're written in ancient kanji, so people haven't translated them in a long time, and they built plenty under that point that could be easily destroyed by tsunami.
Right.
It's
an amazingly maddening thing when you stop and think about it. Well, it's like, I was in an earthquake once where I went to bed on the second floor of a house and I woke up on the first. And I was excited in all the wrong ways. And I will tell you, there's certain things you're like, well, maybe don't build things like this because these shaky things happen.
Yeah.
And yet, people do, thinking, it won't happen to me. Well, no, it might. It just might.
Yeah.
Just might.
Yeah. I, being a California native, I remember earthquakes fondly. I remember all the fires. I remember all the mud.
And the mud, especially after the fires, is the best.
Yeah, the mud after the fires, because now there's no vegetation holding the dirt onto the hillside, and you see spring is coming up, which is mud season.
Right, and on top of it, the fire makes the earth hydrophobic, so the water will just run right off anyway.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's the best.
I lived in Vancouver for 11 years, and we had a bunch of earthquakes, and I swear I didn't feel a single one.
You're cool.
I wanted to feel one, but I never did.
Well, think of it as a blessing. It's just...
No, when Northridge earthquake happened, my dad was a general contractor, and he had... they had just changed the laws about retrofitting your foundation to attach, to the house. And so this little old lady had my dad retrofit the foundation like a month before the earthquake. And
that was the one that killed my apartment building.
What, the Northridge?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she was told by people on her street, because she was like an 80-year-old woman, that like my dad was ripping her off and oh, don't listen to him, and he doesn't know what he's talking about, and blah blah blah. And then when the Northridge earthquake happened, hers was the only house on that entire street that didn't slide off its foundation. Well, guess whose house everyone went to get my dad's card?
Right.
Yeah, and so that entire for an entire 3 or 4 year period after Northridge, my dad was driving up to LA every day to work on putting people's homes back on their foundation and then retrofitting them to be attached to those foundations under the new guidelines.
Oh yeah, no, that's the thing. That was quite the experience. That whole thing. I did not enjoy that at all.
Hey, your friend Ali joined us.
Yes, I do see that. Oh yes, thank you, Ali. I appreciate that. Cthulhu Shroom's mascara is amazing. And then is Cthulhu Shroom, or is it Shroom Thulu? No, it's Cthulhu Shroom. And then let's see. Dale says climate change is a bitch. Hot. We can't prepare for this. Magic Marmot says, I think there was one person that predicted the confluence of events about 6 years ago as a cautionary tale. And then building on floodplains. And then America's my favorite glitch on the Matrix. Oh, thank you. And then a lot of contractors and insurance adjusters are heading there as we speak. Where are you on your panel?
I'm basically just gonna draw our puppet in the speech balloon coming from the phone, and then I'll be done.
Okay. I guess I'll just add detail then to mine. Yeah, because I drew it very quickly because I was trying to make deadline, but then we decided to go over.
I'm sorry I'm so slow. I got a little crazy.
It's okay. It's okay. You were having fun with that puppet.
A lot of dimension.
Yeah, you're having fun with that puppet. That's okay. That's okay. That's allowed, I think. And I won't hold it against you because you're like, oh darn, I'm trying to make it look good.
Magic Marmot says it's wonderful! Exclamation mark.
Well, you were kind enough to invite me to come and play with your toys. I didn't want to do them disservice.
Not at all. You're doing them really kindly.
Well, thank you. Thank you for coming up on the show. You're welcome to come anytime in the future.
It's been a great pleasure to sit and hang out and chat with you folks.
Yeah, and all we do is we draw puppets and mushrooms and revolutions and
all great things to be done. I'm telling you right now. Telling you right now.
Kay says it's beautiful, and Magic Marmot wishes you would come back.
I will, and if folks want, I would be glad to do so. I had a lot of fun.
I think Chad has spoken, so I off camera, we will figure out arrangements and stuff, and I'll send you some dates and stuff.
Sure.
But
Dale wants more butt.
Right now. You don't have to worry about it quite yet. Rev Shroom says Furry Den. And then please come back. And then beautiful. Yes, because it's beautiful. Let's see. And then let's do this.
I love how stocky the puppet is.
Well, he is a puppet.
Yeah, but
you know what?
Fabric detail in him. It's great.
So speaking of puppets, what I can do is I can throw myself up in the big window and I can pull this guy up. I have to grab him. Oh no. He's stuck somewhere.
Don't do that.
No, why are you stuck?
Don't do it.
Why are you stuck?
This is why you do check.
I know.
Don't do this.
Yeah, so this is Sebastian.
That's cool.
Yeah, I have to change his eyes. His eyes need to come a little lower and a little out. And so I talked with Steve about how to do that, and I, have to soak the old holes and stuff like that.
Is that one of the characters from your strip?
No, Sebastian is. I originally ran Sebastian for president back in 2008 on the Minnesota primary.
Nice.
And he got a 0.0003% of the ticket, which was like 37 votes or 33 votes or something like that. And here, give me a second. Let me put him down. And so I'm trying to figure out how, I don't want to run him for president again, I realize, right? Everyone's sick of campaigns. So what I realize is I'm going to have him come back as a political philosopher.
Excellent.
And so he's going to be like, I lost my campaign. It must be the system's fault.
Sure.
And so coming up with new systems that would work, where of course he would be the leader, because that is his goal. And then this is the panel that I have after yours, which is the jetpack.
Can we talk about Canadian politics? Is that allowed?
Yeah, Trudeau resigned. Oh my gosh!
That's the first time that's ever happened in the history of Canada. It's kind of messed up.
He's still prime minister until you guys have a new one, right?
Well, his party has asked him to step down, and because of that, he is also going to eventually step down as prime minister in March. So now the party has to find a new leader. Now, initially I was like, I don't know if this is a good idea. This sets up a really bad precedent because this is like a popularity contest.
Right.
There's no reason to make him step down. He's not done anything wrong to warrant it. But the thing is one of the things my friend mentioned, which is a valid point, is that if we get someone good enough as a leader of the Liberals, they might actually win the next prime minister seat, because the leader of the Conservative Party is awful. He's really dumb. He's really the stuff that comes out of his mouth and but the thing is Canada is a very reactionary country, and anytime this has happened, it's like if they don't like the Liberal Party, they have a complete reactionary response and vote for the other party, which is the Conservative Party, and back and forth. And I'm not saying Trudeau's perfect, but I mean, there are other people that have come before him that have done worse, and no one's asked them to step down. And I think it's because they did it with Biden. They felt they could do it with him. It's odd. But at the same time, we can't let the Conservatives win. So I agree with finding a new leader if that might make a difference. But I'll be honest with you, I'm one of those evil people that split the vote, because I always vote green, and I have voted green for almost 18 years now. Mm-hmm. But the thing is we have another party called the NDP party. We actually have quite a few parties. And the NDP party was an independent for the longest time. And they had people were slowly but surely building seats for them. And that's what's happening with the Green Party. The Green Party every year is growing by leaps and bounds. They're the first ones to talk about climate change. And they're also the first, everything on their policy, on their ticket, I pretty much believe in more than any of the others. Mm-hmm. So I didn't vote Trudeau, even though he was my member of parliament at the time.
Well,
I see him all the time walking around my neighborhood. Like, it was crazy.
I'm not saying that Trudeau was ineffective as a leader, but I felt like later on in his leadership, his hands got tied. And it seemed like a lot of what he wanted to do just didn't happen. And I'm down here. I don't.
People are upset. The main reason, and it's a valid reason, is one of his election promises was electoral reform, and he did nothing about that. Absolutely nothing. So I can see why people are mad about that. But then on the other side of the spectrum, you have the whole crew that are very Trump-oriented, that want him to step down. They blame him for COVID. They blame him for everything. And it's like, it's really frustrating because it's like all this stuff they're talking about, it's like that's happening around the world. So are we also blaming Trudeau for the high economy, the rising cost of houses, like groceries being expensive? He's not responsible for that, but they're, they're shooting their mouth off and get him out. Yeah. It's like, are you not examining what the other option is? Like, seriously.
Just like here, they people who are making those accusations aren't ever looking at the oligarchs who are making, like record profits. Like you can't have record profits and inflation crushing you at the same time as a business owner. If you're making record profits, you're gouging people.
Well, they're finding that happening up in Canada too. Like, there's a news article came out recently where it was showing that some of the grocery stores are like taking out some of the meat but charging the same prices. So
down here too.
Greedy up here in their way.
It's just there are now mouthpieces like Ross Duhat, who are writing New York Times opinion pieces for Canada to join.
Yeah, that's kind of messed up. I saw this video where he was like, we take their cars, we don't need their cars. We take their milk, we don't need their milk. And I'm like, yeah, but you take our energy. We supply energy something to like 1.9 million Americans.
Robin, and your timber, you know, and your paper.
And maple syrup. Although I think Vermont makes a fair amount of maple syrup. But
but like
Canadian maple syrup.
But Canada is still like what, the #1 paper manufacturer in the Western Hemisphere.
And oil too. We supply your gas and oil.
Yeah, so Alberta.
Kind of, I don't know. It's very short-sighted to be so. Like in that clip, he even was like, "I don't call him prime minister. I call him Governor Trudeau." And I was just like,
Yeah, Magic Marmot says oppression comes from the top down. We get to build from the bottom up. Jeremy says Zap Rousdower needs to step in and stop Trump. And then Kay says point. I love that panel. That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, you definitely put my art to shame.
Not at all.
No, the life is great. Don't sit there and say your art is bad.
Yes, but I am not an Emmy award-winning artist.
Well, but see, here's the thing. I draw 18 to 20 hours a day at high speeds all the time.
Yes.
It's all I do. And it's like,
I saw a question today. What will Canada do if we cut off their power? But
you don't supply us with power.
I know. And isn't Niagara Falls like, you guys have the power plant?
Yes.
Yeah. Whatever. Okay. So we are at 8:48. So we're 18 minutes over our time. So where are we on our panel, Thomas?
I could call it if you guys are happy with it.
Oh, I see. No, you know what the question means? It means, what if you as Americans stop using the power we supply you? Which is also dumb too, because then where are you going to get your power from?
Yeah.
Allow me to say, there's a lot of people down here who would cut off their nose to spite their faces if truth be told.
Yeah, they don't understand where they're like cats, right? They benefit from the system around them, but they don't understand how it works.
Right.
Or maybe cats do. They just don't care.
Yeah.
You never know with cats.
Yes, exactly. Oh my gosh, I love Cthulhu Shroom. I love his little wings. I never gave him wings.
I love his spotted mushrooms.
Oh my
those
gosh.
spotted mushrooms.
Drama Doc drives engagement. Yeah, I never gave him wings. He now has wings from now on. He's gonna have wings from now on. Yes.
Little baby wings.
You contributed.
I'm
And
so excited I've added to the lore.
Yes, you have.
all right. Well, with that, I am going to call it, and I'm going to close down our panels and say that it was a fantastic show.
I would like to thank your
fun.
viewers for tuning in and asking questions and making me feel very welcome. So thank you.
Well, I also want to thank chat for always coming to the ready, and that's Furidan and Jeremy and Magic Marmot and Dale, and gosh, Kay was here tonight. We had Ollie. Gosh, who else did we have? We had we had Furidan. We had we had Cody in earlier tonight.
Who's Moose Lore? Was it Moose Lore?
Yeah, Mutant Fox. Yeah, there it is. And then, yeah, we have
someone with a Moose Lore. Was it Moose Lore?
Oh, Morose Libre. Yeah, Morose Libre is from
right.
Morose Libre is from the web creative community. You see there with the logo. And so, thank you very much, Miss Robin, for being my great co-host and knowing way more about comics than me, and showing off some awesome coinage for us tonight of some loonies that look way better than American money.
Gotta tell you that story quickly before we go. So
what's that?
We have loonies, right? And we call them loonies because there's a loon on them. The actual bird, a loon.
Yes.
So then we get a new one, a $2 coin, and what do we call it? It's got a bear on it. We call it a toonie. It's not a berry, it's a toonie. Yes. Canada, we're so cute.
Yes, I love loonies and toonies. I have some in my collection. So yes, Miss Robin, thank you very much, and I will see you next week. And then Mr. Thomas, thank you very much for joining us this evening. And I will have you again in the future. We'll organize. We'll figure that all out. And thank you, chat, for joining me and for seeing what's going on. And I will see you guys in the future. Have a great one.